Chris Webber here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, C-Web?
Hey, I'm great. No, thank you again for helping out in that episode. You know, it wouldn't be worth watching if I didn't have names that people want to watch on there. So, man, thank you for your time.
I can't wait till it's on. We really hosed some poor guy. I got to be honest with you, Chris. I felt bad.
Yeah, you always been. Whenever it's successful, you always feel bad at the end. So it's kind of a good feeling, but it's a good and bad feeling. We did a good job, but man, we really screwed this kid up. It's a lot of fun.
It is a fun show. So, do you know which region you're going to be calling just yet, Chris? Where are you going?
I'm excited. I'm in the South region, so I'll be out there in Greenville that I heard you guys talking about earlier. But I have North Carolina, Texas, Southern, Arkansas, Seton Hall, Duke and Troy, and South Carolina and Marquette. So it should be fun.
Oh, God, you're calling a Duke game.
Yeah, I know. And, well, I heard you got an Ohio State guy coming up next. I was going to bust you up about that at the end. But, I mean, we got to do what we got to do. But it's a lot of fun, though, because it's funny. Every year, you know, Coach Bray at Notre Dame, he was with Mike Krzyzewski when I was recruited to go to Duke. Mm-hmm. And we talked about him coming to the house and meeting my family and laughing and things. So a lot of times in Coach K, we talked about kind of the things that we had in common in him recruiting me and going up there, my relationship with Grant Hill, all that fun stuff. So very honestly, whether it's him or even in the NBA, Tom Crean and other guys, it's always cool because you know these circles of players since you've been like 14 years old. So believe it or not, it's a little bit easier to root for other teams and cheer for them because there's so much synergy around with personnel and everything. But it's always fun, man, this time of year. It's always fun this time of year.
What do you make of Grayson Allen, Chris? What's going on, do you think, with him? Because, you know, that we all know that was all we talked about in December and January. Now is when the rubber meets the road. Now is when anything that might happen will be magnified to the nth degree. You're going to be sitting there courtside calling this game. What do you make of this young man for Duke?
Well, you know what? Very honestly, I was so enthralled in NBA basketball that when I kept hearing about the tripping incidents, you know, I just thought, hey, you know, it's inconsistent, or maybe they're picking on this kid. And then when, you know, Coach K and he went down, hurt his back, the team was kind of inconsistent. And then I saw the actions of Coach K. If you really want to know what's going on in the locker room, watch a coach. And when you saw Coach K put the hammer down, I understood that this was a serious case. So just from that, you know, if we look in the beginning of the year, we thought this is where Duke would be, you know, one of the best teams in the country. It's just because of their inconsistency during the year, and I believe coach's injury that maybe they, you know, weren't that way the whole year. But I think it's pretty serious. But this is what always happens, and this is why, as a player, you always have to check yourself. The game is not entitled to anyone. There's always somebody working hard that can take your space or that can emerge as the leader. And so what I think has happened for Duke is now you see Kennard being able to be that guy and other guys. And so I don't worry about him as much as I'm excited about seeing the other guys stepping up. Because sometimes you could say, hey, man, we know you were the leader. We know, you know, this was your team, but it's a family, and you're not going to mess us up, and we don't care, and we're going to play. And so I think it galvanized the guys, and we'll see how that goes.
And now I'm seeing, too, just again, I'm having heard where you're going for the first time, Chris. You got North Carolina and Duke. I mean, why do they got to do you like that? Chris,
you see
why do they got to do that?
I was scrambling too, man, after watching last night. But again, man, I'm excited. I mean, even though definitely, you know, we did lose to both teams in the championship.
Yeah, what's up with that?
But they were, you know, the thing about sports, man, I keep saying this, is that it's fair to all because it's unfair to everybody. And we played an experienced team in Grant Hill's team who had been embarrassed the year before by UNLV and things like that, or 2 years before. And so everyone had their growth period, and I think our age and youth played a part in that because it was a day where it wasn't one-and-done guys. And that was then. I can't go back and relive those games. But, you know, Rich, looking at new kids and just seeing how they had the same dreams that I did and how their families are just as excited and how their moms can't watch the game or dads can't watch the game, they're walking up the aisle. That's the stuff that gets me excited, even the tears after the game, whether happy tears or sad tears. So looking at this North Carolina team, one of the most athletic teams, and, you know, maybe they'll get back to Duke, you know, that interstate beef and all the rivalries. So even, you know, even watching these kids, I can put all of it behind, especially with the good things that the kids over there are doing in Ann Arbor. I could definitely put this aside and watch happy because of how well they're playing. But, yeah, I'm excited to watch this North Carolina team and see how far they can go.
Yeah, well, how about what the job that Beeline has done with Michigan, Chris? I mean, this is really one of the more incredible runs we've seen, an 8 seed in a conference tournament game, and we all know how they made it to Washington, D.C., and came out the other way around, and 5 days later they're champions of the conference. I can't recall anything close to a story like that, C-Web.
No. And I look at it as heart, toughness, and teamwork. I mean, I don't think you can take anything away from any one of those aspects, heart and the fact that they wanted to play, that they didn't want to think about just what had happened and be a victim. They wanted to go play. 2, toughness, the toughness that once you make a commitment, you have to follow through. My father always taught me that it's easy to make the commitment without thinking about the follow through. Well, they had to follow through. And then 3, they had to let it fly, man, and play together and let all inhibitions go. And that's what you love seeing, the kids. I mean, whenever, I love that kid, Irvin, and his toughness. And, of course, I've had kids that played on my AAU team that are on that team right now. And so seeing what Walton does, seeing those guys, man, you love it anytime. And that's what I mean, whether it's North Carolina and a school that, that, of course, you grew up playing against, or a school like Duke, you have to let that go and just love what the kids are doing and put yourself in that position. And whether it's a school that, for some reason doesn't embrace you and you did everything you could for them, you still look at those kids and you go, man, I cannot wait to see them guys fulfill their dreams. And so this is the part that really gets me excited, because at the end of the day, whether you play for the Sacramento Kings or whether you KG and you play for Minnesota Timberwolves, we all dreamed of playing in tournaments. Well, KG, skipped college, but, he did dream about going to it. Actually, he was going to come to Michigan is what he told me. But,
Is that what he did? Really?
Is what he told me. You have to think about it. Wait a minute. But it's fun talking to Grant Hill and all the other guys. I remember dreaming about being a player like UNLV and seeing how they were, seeing Illinois, who was a big team, and when Michigan beat them in '89, when Sean Higgins went behind the back and dunked on them. You're dreaming about that day. It's step by step, and so whenever you forget the steps, it's not, you're not giving reverence to the process. And so it's really cool watching these kids, the nervousness on their face, the toughness on their face, the emotions, the body language. I get really excited about it. So it's NCAA, March Madness, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're getting me fired up for it. Chris Webber, Turner Sports, at Real Chris Webber on Twitter. And again, Full Court Pranks on True TV. Chris Webber's Full Court Pranks Monday at 10 Eastern Time on True TV. Let's talk NBA. Are you concerned about the Warriors right now? They're only a half game in front of the Spurs, Chris. How concerned are you about the defending Western Conference champs?
Well, I was concerned about them in the beginning of the year, not because of an addition of one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, in Durant, not because they won a record 73 games last year and didn't win the championship, but because this is the NBA, and we always take the Spurs for granted. We take Kawhi Leonard for granted, even in the MVP race. And so, I was just worried about them because I think the West is a lot better than we give credit for. And the regular season is much different than the playoffs. But now they are not the same team without Durant. I mean, they wouldn't be the same team without Curry. They wouldn't be the same team without Thompson. It's just how it goes. And so you want to see how the players come back and react. You want to see if Durant can come back and how his body language is, if he can run and stop on a dime, not worry about somebody coming down under him when he's shooting a jump shot, those type of things. But they have a great coach in Kerr, and those guys have a lot of character. So I know they'll figure it out. But I think this is going to be a really good playoff for everyone. And, I know that San Antonio wants that number one spot, and guys want that. So we'll see how it reacts. But, I'm worried about them from injury's sake only, not necessarily because they're playing bad now.
But LaMarcus Aldridge is now out for the foreseeable future. Do you think that this could be the opening the Rockets need to maybe put their stamp on the Western Conference and go on a magic carpet ride few people thought was possible?
Talking to some guards, and you mentioned players only, and it was Barron and Isaiah specifically, they were telling me how, they really saw that Houston is the toughest matchup over there just because of how hot they can get. So you may blow them out in one game of a series, but you know that they're going to shoot lights out in 2 to 3 to 4 games of the series. So he said that's probably the toughest quandary of who's playing. So I think that Coach D'Antoni is definitely candidate for Coach of the Year for how it just shows how when you change a culture to not being all about one guy, that guy can flourish more and he can get more credit and his teammates can be happy, and then that equals a team. One guy gets a little more credit, the other guys understand they're winning, so everybody's happy. And so really like the job he's done there. But, yeah, the playoffs, going to be fun watching the Houston Rockets play.
So who's your MVP, Chris, right now?
Man.
Who do you got?
It definitely is between Harden and Westbrook, but I'm a guy that leans toward Westbrook because I just take everything into account. The fact that, number one, Coach Donovan is his coach, which is a second-year NBA coach. Dealing with the fact that who could have been the league MVP, Durant, is out. Being the fact, too, that I don't think he has teammates that we can see from the numbers that can shoot from the outside. So what would his real assist numbers be if he had guys that could space the floor? Fourth, being that it's a trade, and at the time, so this is a week ago stat, he was 35-6 when he had triple doubles, or 31-6 when he had triple doubles. So, the triple doubles to me, he has to do them to win. Mm-hmm. And so when that happens, I think it was 25-6. I don't want to misquote it, but when he has a triple double, they're going to win. And so just seeing what he does every night on the court, and also I know it looks like it's just athleticism because I've never seen an athlete like this before. But having played and know the energy that it takes so much mental energy to prepare for a game. No disrespect to my football guys because their preparation and everything is on a whole nother level or a different level, but they get a week to recuperate. This is, sometimes 4 and 5 days, and the running is different. So no sport is better or tougher than anyone. I'm not saying that, but I can't imagine hockey, 82 games on the ice with back-to-back, flying to different cities, not being able to recuperate, getting in the city at 3, playing at 7 with the shoot-around in the morning. He's doing all of these things, encouraging guys, and I didn't even think they'd be in the playoffs this year. But in saying all that, if Harden won, I would not be surprised because what he is doing is incredible. And he has his guys winning at a level, and I didn't think they would win either. So I have Westbrook right now, but because we haven't seen this since Big O has done it, I can't believe he's doing it now. But, yeah, I got Westbrook.
Okay. Chris, enjoy calling the Big Ten. I knew I'd do it. Enjoy calling the Big Dance. Let's put it that way. I just got Michigan on the brain. Come on, certainly when you call in. So
yeah, no doubt. Me too, man. Excited, man.
Have a great time. I look forward to having you in studio when you're back here in Los Angeles too. Okay?
No doubt, man. Thank you.
Love it. Chris Webber, Turner Sports.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.